Welcome back to Paraguay. Welcome to Asuncion. We are living on the map today. You know, maybe I should say that from now on. Instead of saying welcome back to the channel, I should just say welcome back to Paraguay, because isn't that what you're here for? Anyways, today I have a very informative video for you guys. I think this is going to be one of the most useful videos on YouTube, especially on English-speaking YouTube, about Asuncion, Paraguay that you can watch. Because I'm going to be doing a full breakdown of the map of Asuncion, Paraguay. Now, I'm not going to break down every single street, but what I mean by that is I'm going to be breaking down all of the major points of interest that you're going to need to know when you first get here. I'll be talking about different neighborhoods, different main roads that you're going to be taking often, areas that you should go to, places that you should check out, areas that you shouldn't go to, right? Maybe areas that you should avoid. So definitely stay tuned for that, because you're going to want to know where those places are. And yeah, just giving you an overall feel so that way you can know what it is you're looking at when you first get here and you walk out of your Airbnb and you're on the sidewalk looking at Google Maps on your phone, not knowing what the heck's going on. So stay tuned. I'm going to be using Google Earth here. I hope you can see my cursor okay. I've got this really ugly, big yellow cursor just to make sure that you guys can see it all right. I even set it up to where it like lags a little bit. It like kind of jitters around when I move, so that way you can see it as it's moving. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be marking points of interest on the map. So Google Earth lets me place marks of different places. I'm going to be indicating some roads as well. And by the time we're done with this, we're going to have a nice, composite of a useful map for you guys. And I'm going to do my best to get it uploaded in the description and get a link for it shared in the description so you guys can download it yourself and use it if it's something that you think would be useful. Yeah, I recommend you look at the screen for this one. Although, I mean, you could probably just listen to me talk as well. You'll probably get, still a bunch of useful information if you just listen to me talk. I know a lot of people throw on my videos like on the TV or while they're doing something else, just because my format tends to be friendly for that. For this one, it's going to be a little bit more visual, but who knows? Hopefully I can do a good enough job explaining things to where maybe you don't need to keep along. But if you really want to get all of the value, put this full screen and follow along. Let's get into it. So, what are we looking at right now? We are looking at Asuncion, right? This is, first let's get an idea. It's like, where is Asuncion? Okay, right? We're right here. We're in the heart of South America, and right in this little corner of Paraguay, pretty close to Argentina over here. And this is kind of, I'm gonna do a little outline here. This is kind of your Gran Asuncion, right? I'll include some of what's across the bridge as well. I'll draw it out here just so you guys can see. Right, this is Gran Asuncion. This is 90% of what you're going to be seeing when you're here. Now, is there incredible stuff to see outside of Asuncion? Yes, but for the purposes of this video, I want to explain what's inside of this bubble that I just created. So let's get rid of that. Step one, land. Here at the airport. Here is the airport. Now, Asuncion is a place where the airport is pretty accessible to the rest of the city. A lot of other cities, what they've done is just due to high demand, they had to go far outside of the city and build their international airports. And what that creates is very long Uber times or very long travel times between the airport and the parts of the city that people are staying in. Or even Buenos Aires, for example, the airport that's in the city is their old one because it was too small, and then they had to build a whole new one outside of the city, and now there's two airports. Asuncion doesn't have that problem yet. However, if you were to tell me in 10, 15 years that they've got a whole other airport, I wouldn't be surprised. But here's the airport. Very accessible. Very close to where most of you guys are going to be staying. Technically, the airport is in this city, Luque. So Luque is a different city, right? Asuncion, technically the city limits of Asuncion are, is it going to show us? You can barely tell. It's in this red line right here. Here's city limits of Asuncion. And airport is technically out here in Luque. But I'm going to place a dot on it here just so you can... how do I change the name? Edit. Oh, here we go. Airport, just so you guys can see where it is. Now, boom. Pretty self-explanatory there. I might make a whole airport guide for what to do when you get here and how to get out. Now, going from there, most of you are going to be staying in these areas. Now let me do this in case this makes it maybe a little bit more simple for you. I'm going to be going back and forth using the satellite. I personally prefer the actual satellite, but I know some people like the kind of, white map view. But for explaining roads, I think this is better. You're going to take this road that takes you right down to, let's go back to the satellite so we can actually look at them. This area. This is going to be most people's first destination. And we can also do this so you can see the names of some of the locations. Here you have Shopping del Sol and Paseo La Galeria. This is what I have called in a previous video the gringo bubble. Nothing against foreigners or non-Spanish speakers or gringos. I am one too. Yeah, this is kind of like the main area that people stay in. Or if not, then you'll hear of a lot of people who stay here in Villa Mora or here close to Shopping Mariscal. I'm gonna do here, I'll get rid of this afterwards, but I'm gonna do like an overall outline of what is the gringo bubble, i.e., yeah, the most popular sort of areas to stay in Asuncion. Now you'll notice this is not Centro, right? This is not downtown Asuncion. Downtown Asuncion is over here. I'll explain more about downtown Asuncion later, but this is the most affluent part of Asuncion, the nicest part of Asuncion, and generally your main points of proximity are going to be these three malls. I'm going to go ahead and label them. Mariscal, Del Sol, oh shit, what did I just do? What the hell did I just do? 2D. Boom. Reset to north. Boom. Got it. That's funny. And then I'll just call this one Paseo. Done. So now what we have, oh, it's not Del, it's Del Sol. Done. All right, so now so far we've got 4 important points. The airport, Shopping del Sol, Paseo La Galeria, and Shopping Mariscal. What's my take on this overall area? Del Sol and Paseo are very, very nice. In terms of the malls themselves, they are, especially Paseo is kind of the highest quality one. Del Sol is also very nice. This is kind of like your CBD, your central business district of Asuncion. To get more specific on that, this road, this is called Aviadores del Chaco, I think is what it's called. A lot of your, your nice offices, I'm going to highlight it. Your banks are located here, all the way up to about here. Boom. Along this road is, where a lot of the hustle and bustle is at. So if you're going to be doing business here in Asuncion, and you have, a little bit of a higher budget, the price difference isn't that crazy. But, if budget's not an issue, staying around this area is going to be your best bet. Because business meetings, right? What else? I don't know why I blanked there. Business meetings, conferences, events, going and getting, professional services done, going to law firms, residency services, that sort of thing. A lot of them are going to be based around here, around Aviadores. So yeah, this is the most expensive area of the city, is this general proximity. There's a lot of nice high-rise apartments all around this area. So if for all else, if you just don't know where to stay, start here. Your second best option, now I personally prefer this from a lifestyle perspective, is going to be around Shopping Mariscal. Shopping Mariscal is smaller It's not quite as luxurious, let's say, as Del Sol or especially Paseo. But what it is it has like a bit more of a family feel. I recommend if you are coming here with children, stay near Shopping Mariscal before staying near Shopping Del Sol and Paseo La Galeria. There's less traffic in this area. It's more walkable. It's more of a neighborhood feel. And Shopping Mariscal is going to have 90% of the things you need from Del Sol or Paseo. And you'll just notice in the mall itself, there's just a bunch of families. You go up to the food court. You'll see here the mall is kind of split up into these two buildings. This building right here is the one that has the food court. You go up there and they have like a little indoor playground. And yeah, it's just a really good local feel. Now, can you get more local in other places? Yes, but in terms of that familiar feel, while still being nice, I highly recommend it. And if you really like walking, if you want to minimize your time Ubering around, and you don't necessarily have a need to go do business around Aviadores, I recommend you stay close to Mariscal, because the whole area is just very walkable. And what you have is you have Shopping Mariscal here, and then you also have Villa Mora Shopping right here, which is technically another mall. These two are older. This addition went up quite recently. In a little bit, I'm going to go through and show you some of the historical changes on the satellite that Asuncion has gone through. So that sums that up. Those are your main three malls that you hear about. Again, these are the nicest. This is the business area, and these are going to be your most expensive. Mariscal is a very nice alternative. And then a lot of people stay here in Villa Mora. I'm going to outline Villa Mora here. So Villa Mora is, I'll roughly follow Avenida España. I'll just call it this. I'm not exactly sure what the boundaries are, but this is Villa Mora. Villa Mora is kind of right in the center of both, right? A lot of people like staying in Villa Mora for that reason. And I would personally recommend you do as well if you just want the best of both worlds. Also quite pricey, but of course it's all relative. Dive in, look at some Airbnbs and look at some stuff like that, see if it's within your budget. What you have in Villa Mora is a couple of things. Let's get rid of this line X. Boom. What you have is right over here is, I'm going to go here, just to make sure that we can see all of like the, restaurants and stuff. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Carmelitas, this general area, these few blocks. This is going to be your most poppin' nightlife area of Asuncion. Now, is Asuncion a place that heavily depends on Carmelitas in order to have fun nightlife-wise? No. But there's a lot of nice restaurants here, a lot of nice bars. You might remember my video if you have watched this channel for a while, or if not, I highly recommend you watch it after this, of how to escape the gringo bubble. I talked about it there, and also how to make friends in Asuncion. I said, okay, if you're gonna go to nightlife, if you're gonna depend on nightlife to make some friends, which is a good option to start. There's a bunch of different ways that you can make friends here, but a good way to start is to go out, go out on the town at night and start meeting some people. There's a bunch of foreigners that you're gonna see in Carmelitas and a bunch of locals. It's a really good mix of both. I recommend you start here just to take out the guesswork. Sure, there's places in El Centro, there's places around the shopping malls, but those are more individual bars, individual spots. Whereas Carmelitas is kind of like all in one. Eventually, you're kind of going to grow out of Carmelitas. I think as you really start to learn this place, you're going to find your spots that you really like, and a lot of them will be outside of it. But to start, this is a great place to roam around. And if you want to go out, and that's a priority for you, and being able to walk home at night without needing to take an Uber is a priority for you, staying in Villa Mora specifically is going to be good because you're going to be very close to Carmelitas. Now, very quickly, I'll give you an overview on some bars that you can start at, or some nightclubs. Casa Colombo, Casa Colombo, if you can see it. Hello, it keeps disappearing. This is one, Casa Colombo. They have events all the time, reggaeton, techno, mostly reggaeton. Well, yeah, you go there on a Saturday night. It's pretty big. It's pretty poppin'. Let's see. This one, can we get to see it, please? Untitled place mark, delete. Let me do this. See if this helps. Boom. Here it is. Kilkenny is another one. Now, those of us who have been here for a while, if you've been here for a while, you might kind of laugh at me for mentioning this. But the truth of the matter, like, it's a good place to start. It is full of foreigners from all over the world. Not necessarily just Westerners. You're gonna get a lot of like Argentinians and Brazilians there as well. Rumor has it, from what I've heard, Kilkenny is the most profitable bar in Asuncion, meaning they're like the most successful because they're poppin' packed every weekend, and they have a lot of foreigners. Mamba, if you like electronic, Mamba has some good electronic stuff. Space, they do electronic every Thursday night. Tonight is Thursday night. I may or may not swing by. And then you've got some other ones on this strip right here. This main road is going to be where a lot of your bars are at. So that is Nightlife. That is Carmelitas. So I'm going to go back to the satellite, and I'm going to mark it. Boom, boom, Carmelitas. And I'm just going to say Nightlife. Boom. Done. Okay. So we are making progress here. Next, what I wanted to do is start heading east, right? And kind of explaining what is the rest of the city. So what I just covered is your main points of interest. So you can stay around the malls, you can stay around the nightlife. I'm going to give kind of an overview of the rest of the city, and then I'm going to talk about some other stuff like gyms, parks, other tourist destinations, dangerous neighborhoods, that sort of stuff as well. But you'll notice here, this is Centro. This is downtown Asuncion. This is the nice part over here that we just covered. So in El Centro, I highly recommend you check it out. Would I stay there to start? No. Could you come here and decide to stay there and really like it? Yeah. I actually know a lot of foreigners who stay there, and they say they really like it because it's just very like dense, and some people like that. You know, there's little stores everywhere. Cost is generally going to be a little bit lower than in Villa Mora and around the malls. Though it is a bit rough, I guess. If there's anywhere where you do want to be careful walking around at night, Centro is one of those areas. So here, this area over here is where you have all of like your big government offices and a lot of your main sort of touristy things to see in El Centro. So I'm going to just overall highlight like this area. Boom. Here you have Plaza Uruguaya, which is a big park. And then El Panteón is where they have a lot of like war heroes that were buried there. So it's kind of like a museum type feel. Let's see, save. I'm gonna do this so I can click here. How can I click? Okay. Boom. This is like a museum type feel if you want to check that out. And then you have Palacio de López, which is the White House, right? The Pink House, I guess. It's similar to the Casa Rosada in Argentina, which is where the president works. Now, my favorite part of this area is Costanera. Costanera is a very good place to run, right? Go for runs, go for walks. Let me see if I can get a street view guy right here. Boom. I should have done this earlier with some of the other stuff. But there you have it. Oh, this is a very old image. What year is this from? Well, we're about to look at some of the development of Costanera anyways. Back. Boom. Boom. Let's get on this road here. Say right here. Boom. So here we go. This is still kind of an old image, it seems. But you have like this boardwalk, walking trail area. This is the quote unquote beach of Asuncion. You can do little boat tours that will take you around the bay. And then we'll also go up the river. If you walk around this little boardwalk, you're gonna see a bunch of street vendors selling a bunch of stuff. There's like an I love Asuncion sign that you can go take a picture with and throw on your Instagram story to make people know that you went to Asuncion. Over here, you can barely tell it because of the resolution. This is La Casa Rosada, sorry, Palacio de López, the President's Palace. So yeah, this is a place that I'd recommend checking out on like your first week here. And if you like going for long walks or going for runs, this is going to be a great place to do that. What else around here? So I'm going to take this opportunity to, let me do this, boom. I'm going to delete this bubble. And what I want to show you guys is some of the development of Asuncion. Because a lot of this stuff that seems that like when we get here, we think, oh wow, like this is so, like this is nice. It's nice because it's new. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to interact with on, on a daily basis has not been there for very long. You'll be shocked. So I'm going to go ahead and let me show you guys this. Historical imagery. So it's 2026. Let's go back to, how do I go further back? Here we go. Let's go back to 2010, or 2011, 15 years ago. Boom. And then we go exploration. Boom. Look, all of what is the modern Costanera was not there, right? You had your Palacio that pretty much overlooked right onto the bay. And historically, the boats would come up the river and they would park, they would dock right here at the palace. So that way the president had, direct access to the waterways. That is obviously no longer the case. You can no longer dock a boat right next to the palace, but you don't need to anymore. Also, context, fun fact, because of Paraguay's placement right along the river, Paraguay is known as the mother of all cities, or the mother of the cities, because the Spanish came here. This is super oversimplifying it. They went up this river, they set up shop here, and they used it as a base to colonize the entire rest of the, the Southern Cone region. So Paraguay is like where it all started, or Asuncion specifically. Asuncion is where it all started. But yeah, just look at that, right? 2012, now they've broken ground, right? They started to lay down some of the sand for where that road was gonna go. 2013, 2014, 2015, now we're pretty much done. So about 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago is when they even finished this project. And now, I'll go ahead and just go back to today. This road is a very important road for transport, right? It's this road within Asuncion, like without going out to the highways that take you outside of the city, is the closest you're gonna get to what feels like an American highway, meaning multiple lanes, open, no speed bumps, high speed limits. This is not legal advice, but if you want to go fast, this may or may not be a place where you can go faster than anywhere else. Now, sometimes there is traffic. Like if it's like a Saturday at 5 p.m., you're going to see some traffic there, people going there to hang out and check it out. Or if it's in the middle of the weekday, you might see some traffic there as well. But this is an artery that helps connect to the airport. A lot of people, they go to the airport, they take this road right here, and they go down and it connects them to El Centro. So it's the bridge between here and the airport. It also takes you across the bridge to Nueva Asuncion, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to put a pin here for, yeah, I'm just going to put it right on top of here. Costanera. Now, Costanera is basically like your spawn point for Centro. I recommend you call your Uber to Costanera. They're going to drop you off probably right, where is it? I think it's here. Yeah, right here at the I Love Asuncion sign. And then you can check out this stuff. You can walk around. This is where all the street vendors are. You can look at the beach. Don't get in the water. The water is dirty. You can go on a boat tour though. Those are fun. Some of them will actually take you up the river. Those are really fun. And then from there you walk inwards to the palace, to the plazas, to the museums. Now, another important road here. Now I'm going to start marking roads. Sorry, I should have done this at a cleaner order, but this is how we go. I'm pretty sure it's this one. No, Mariscal Lopez. Here we go. Palma. So, what's your second nightlife district that you should check out after Carmelitas? Calle Palma. There it is. I'm just going to put a line to mark it. Save the project. Hello, boom, and I'm going to call it Calle Palma. Done. So this is this was the main nightlife district before Carmelitas, and to a lot of people it still is. There's really good nightlife around here. You'll find like some more kind of grungy, like hole in the wall type of spots, and especially as you start hanging out with more locals, you're going to be spending more time in places like this. Your foreigners, for the most part, are going to be most familiar with Carmelitas, and it's, you know, you can start there with them. But hell, take them to Palma. Say, hey guys, you want to go? Like, let's go to like a more like authentic, like just like neighborhood bar. Go to Calle Palma. Now, there's other even more authentic, even more neighborhood bars all throughout the city. But that's a good place to start. If it's on a Saturday, it's going to be pretty poppin'. A lot of times they'll set up like little festivals there too, where there's going to be like little street vendors and stuff like that. And you can kind of just walk up and down and check it out. It's very hustle and bustle, but you will notice that there are less foreigners and more locals. Now, if it's at night, for the most part, like you'll be fine. Like, you know, there's other downtowns, especially if you're, you know, from like most cities in the U.S. Now that's where I'm from, so I speak from that perspective. They make this place look like Disneyland, but if you start to vary, you know, off of Calle Palma into the rest of downtown late at night, keep your eyes open. Odds are you will be fine. It's not that bad, but if there's anywhere to have your eyes open at night, it will be, you know, meandering into the rest of downtown Asuncion. So yeah, that's another cool nightlife place to check out. Puerto de Asuncion, I'm going to quickly hit on. This is where they do a lot of big events. I went to a fashion show there. They do big parties there, big raves, stuff like that. So that's a place that you might check out. No need to go there unless you know that you have an event in mind that you want to check out. Now, speaking of roads, I want to go back here. I probably should have done this before, but I'm going to go ahead and mark out some roads. So we started with Aviadores, which we already talked about, which is like your business vein for Asuncion. But Aviadores extends to, Avenida España, which takes you, I'm just going to bring it all the way downtown. Done. I'll call this Gran España, right? Avenida España is this, turns into Aviadores. This is going to be one of the roads that you take most frequently by far. If it's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, good luck. Asuncion traffic is bad, but only on peak hours. It's not at the point yet where it's bad 24/7 around the clock like some other major cities are. Other capital cities, I should say. But this is a road you're going to be using a lot. I'd say if you want to live away from the central areas, but you still want to be easily accessible to them, living on or near Avenida España is a good idea. You can also, what you can do, let's just say, for example, you're over here, you're in downtown, and you want to go to Del Sol. If, shit, back, uh-oh, whatever, save. I'm just going to leave this little error here. I'll call this España without an ñ / aviadores. Living on España is going to be good. You're going to be well located if you're anywhere on España. Same goes for España's partner in crime, Avenida Mariscal López. Yes, it has the same name as the mall. This one takes you all the way out to San Lorenzo, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll stop like right here. Yeah, this one continues all the way down to San Lorenzo. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go, oh fuck, it disappeared. Well, I guess we gotta do it again. Boom, 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 boom. So Mariscal López is another very useful road to be located near. I'll go all the way to Pinedo shopping. It's another mall, by the way. I won't talk much about it, but San Lorenzo, different neighborhood. Another road that gets crazy, crazy packed during peak hours. Avenida Mariscal. Boom. So, yeah, if you're calling your Uber at like 5 p.m. on a Tuesday and you need to use Mariscal, which is likely, like if say you're over here, you're over, down in this area in Barrio Herrera, and you need to get to Centro, or if you're in Centro and you need to get to the malls, or if you're anywhere over here, you need to get to the airport, right? These roads are going to be packed. Now, I'd say that traffic window, the bad traffic window is from like 4 to 7:30. 3:30 to 7:30 maybe. Call it 4 hours of steep traffic. So what your Uber is going to do is get super creative. Sometimes it works. Like they'll take the little side streets to navigate you off of those main roads. But sometimes it's just ridiculously inefficient. Like they try to get too creative. Sometimes it's them, the driver. Other times it's the map. And it just delays you even more. So just keep that in mind. Also, I was going to say, if there's any time to take the bus, it's going to be navigating these roads, ideally when there's not much traffic. But if you're over here, for example, and you want to get to, or say you're over here and you want to get to Del Sol, just take a bus that takes you down España. Or if you're going if you're going from Shopping Mariscal to Centro, just take a bus that takes you just on Avenida Mariscal López, right? Outside of that, taking the bus will take you longer than Ubering, that's for sure. If you want to save the money, you absolutely can. But the instances in which I take the bus are when I'm just going down one main avenue, and it's just a matter of getting on one stop, going down the avenue, and getting off at another. Once you start changing lines and stuff, and really going into a neighborhood, yes, you will take a while. At that point, you're best calling an Uber if you can. But buses do help for that, and definitely get a bus card. Don't be a turbo gringo that's never been on the bus. Another important road is going to be this one. I'm not going to mark it because it's not as relevant, is Artigas, right? This, before Costanera was built, was kind of the main lifeline that went north-south and that connected the airport to everywhere else. So another topic I want to talk about before I leave this area is gyms. What are your best gyms? And where are they at? I'll start with this one. Premier Fitness. Premier Fitness is the most popular gym amongst foreigners. It is very nice. You see this big, long rectangle? It is the entire top floor of this big, long rectangle. So this is Paseo Los Árboles, which is a nice area. It's got some bars, it's got some restaurants. Here you have some nightclubs, right here in this little S-looking thing. Staying near this area, if you can get like over here or over here, and you're close to Paseo Los Árboles, you are well located because you've got access to all that nightlife and you have access to Premier Fitness. I know some people that make their housing decisions strictly based off of their gyms because it's somewhere that they go to so often. If you're gonna do that, start here. However, there are other really good options. But Premier is the biggest and nicest, And I would say it's the best place to network for a gym. It's the best gym for networking because you're going to meet a lot of other foreigners. Now, again, eventually you're going to want to meet more locals, but I generally recommend when you first touch down, meet more foreigners, meet foreigners first, and then open yourself up to locals. Another option is Zona Fit. That's another nice one inside of Paseo La Galeria. Walking into there is kind of a pain. You just have to walk a good bit. You know, it's not like you can just park your car right in front of the door like you can at Premier, or, you know, have the Uber drop you off and you walk right in. Like you got to go into the mall and go up the stairs and go into the gym. But it's all good. Smart Fit Shopping del Sol. Don't go to Smart Fit Shopping del Sol. I call it La Cueva, the cave. It's on the second subsuelo, meaning floor -2. So here the elevators, they go planta baja, lobby, floor 1, 2, 3, 4, floor -1, 2, 3, 4. It is on floor -2, right? It's in the parking garage, underground parking garage. It's small. There's no windows. So you're in there. You can't tell if you're in there at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. There's no windows. It's just light. I mean, you're going to blue light max in there. Probably lose a little bit of natural dopamine and fuck up your circadian if you're in there at night. And it gets stupid packed. Minus some very few exceptions. It's dense. I've even heard that it smells bad too. So I wouldn't make your decision. If gyms are important to you, I wouldn't tell yourself, oh, I'm going to live next to Shopping del Sol and I'm going to go to the Smart Fit. You might already have a Smart Fit membership because you've gotten it in another country. And if you have the black, you can use it here. Don't go to Smart Fit del Sol. Other options, if you're near Mariscal, XN is a good gym near Shopping Mariscal. Not quite as nice, but it has everything you need. And then if you do have a Smart Fit membership, here's a whole other area that we're about to talk about, Distrito Perseverancia. This is one of the main real estate developments of Asuncion. This is one of the hot projects in the real estate scene here. It's basically a big indoor-outdoor shopping mall, like a multi-use development. You see that very common in the States nowadays. It's like every city wants to put up these multi-use developments where you have restaurants, apartments, shopping, gym, offices, right? Everything in one place, right? And it's pedestrian friendly, right? It's like in the US they use it to like put a Band-Aid over the terrible urban planning. They'll say, oh, we're gonna build this multi-use development so that way you can rent an apartment from us, shop at our stores, work out at our gym, eat from our grocery store, right? It's like they've got you by the balls a little bit. It's kind of, to me, I think it's kind of like it's like if the Matrix were real, everybody would live at one of these. But for what it's worth, it is very nice. And thankfully, Asuncion is very far from the Matrix, don't worry. So, here's another area, by the way. I should have mentioned this earlier, but thank you for sticking around. Distrito. I'm just going to call it Distrito. Done. Here's a low-key sauce area for you to live around if you want something a little bit more affordable than Shopping del Sol, Paseo La Galeria, and Shopping Mariscal. I'd say number 4, try to get around Distrito. And another good alternative neighborhood is this one, Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes and Barrio Jara. Barrio Jara is actually a very affluent neighborhood, very old money. Jara and Las Mercedes there's a lot of wealth here. Essentially, historically, it was one of the first areas that were colonized or that were developed by the wealthy Spaniards, right? The elite class, the ruling class, when they colonized Asuncion. It was far away from the floodplain. So in case you didn't know, all this stuff used to flood. They built levees that got rid of it. So that's why all of this is pretty much undeveloped, and why a lot of what is developed is some of the poorest areas of Asuncion, kind of around what used to be the floodplain. So what they did in order to get away from the floodplain but still be close to the ports is they went here up the hill in Las Mercedes and Barrio Jara. Nice areas. Las Mercedes has a lot of nice coffee shops. A lot of people kind of consider it like the next gringo bubble. It's still a lot of foreigners, a very local feel, a lot of locals, but some foreigners are starting to live there as well. And then you're pretty close to Distrito, right? And if you can live like right by Distrito, or if you do have a high budget and you can live at the Distrito, go for it. I recommend it. The Smart Fit here, by the way, is one of the best gyms in Asuncion. By far the best Smart Fit in Asuncion. Reason being is it's brand new, and can you tell with these pictures? Here we go. You have basically like 360 panoramic views of Asuncion, from an elevated point. So over here, you can really tell, you can see the bridge. By the way, if you go back and see some of my videos where I'm standing outside with a nice view of the bridge behind me, that's Distrito. Just good, nice area. You have a Casa Rica, which is like the Whole Foods of Paraguay, like the nice, wealthy grocery store. Some stores for clothes that are just super overpriced. I wouldn't go there to buy clothes, but it is a nice area to stay around. And I do recommend that gym. So those are my main gym recs. Either Premier, Zona Fit, XN, or Smart Fit Distrito. If you have a Smart Fit membership, the one in El Centro, if you're around El Centro, that one's also pretty good. So, what else? Here's what we have so far in terms of our pins on the map. Here are our main areas of interest. Now, another area I need to talk about. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, when you get there, you're going to be like, where the heck am I? The more time you spend here, the more you're going to love it. I love Mercado Cuatro. Love Mercado Cuatro. Mercado Cuatro is like the street market of Asuncion. In reality, it's a street market. It's indoor, it's outdoor. It's just this whole commercial area. If you need anything that can't be readily be found at a grocery store or at a department store at a mall, you go to Mercado Cuatro. One day, I want to do a breakdown of items that I have purchased. Bro, half this apartment is Mercado Cuatro. Half my wardrobe is Mercado Cuatro. I'm actually not. Wait, these shorts? Yes, these shorts are from Mercado Cuatro. So much of what I own is from there, and I highly recommend you go. Bro, Mercado Cuatro. My termo, my tereré, sorry, my wamba. Anything you need is there. Clothes, furniture, appliances, cell phone repair, electronics. I bought an air fryer there 2 days ago. Just like any random thing. Groceries. Oh, if you want to save money, do your grocery shopping at Mercado Cuatro, because there's a bunch of little vendors that have like produce and meat. And bro, they have a whole fish market in there. I mean, you can buy cow tongue and quail and a whole chicken. Like, you can buy everything there, and it's just fun. And and eating there is cool too. They have these little stalls where they're just like cooking up meat on a little parrilla. And you sit down. It's super Paraguayan. It's super local. You're not going to see a lot of foreigners there. But if you can go to Mercado Cuatro, understand it, get used to it, and learn how to communicate with the people there, it will make your Paraguay experience a hell of a lot better. Because I know a lot of foreigners who either don't know about it, or afraid to go to it, or just too lazy to go. And they're like, oh, bro, an air fryer, for an example. Yeah, buddy, a couple months ago was like, oh, bro, I need an air fryer, so I had to order one and forward it from the States, and paid $25 a kilo to forward the package from the States, because he thought it was going to be hard to find a good one in Paraguay. Like, bro, everything is there. You can buy a PS5 there. Like, everything is there. So check it out. Now, be on your 2 feet. People say that there's pickpockets there. I've never ran into anything that even feels remotely close to it. Everyone there, from my experience, is super nice. But be careful. You never know. And be ready for people to holler at you. Be like, hey, where are you going? Or what do you want? Pregunta nomás, they say. Just ask me a question. Or yeah, just ask, right? They want you to talk to them because they want to sell you whatever they're selling, right? Here's a snapshot of it. This is probably an old picture, but Mercado Cuatro has been there forever. Like, Mercado Cuatro is a staple of Asuncion culture. Let me see if I can show you another angle. And yeah, it's not just the Mercado itself. It's everything surrounding it, right? All of the surrounding areas is like just like the commercial hub, like the retail hub, I guess you would say, like the buying shit hub of Asuncion. A lot of you might have heard of Paraguay through Ciudad del Este, which is very known for that as well because they import a bunch of stuff and you can buy anything and everything there as well. Mercado Cuatro is like a mini version of Ciudad del Este. So yeah, stay there. Now, danger at night. I would not recommend you go to Mercado Cuatro at night. 1, because it closes at like 5:30 anyways. And 2, because it is known to be a bit of a dangerous area at night. So yeah, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there at night or go around that area. And you'll have no need to. Also, around this area, there's some very good Asian food. There's a very strong Korean community in Asuncion, and I think they're right around this area is where they kind of first set up shop. And there's some very good Asian restaurants there. There's Korean specifically, really. What else? This is the bulk of it. I could go forever. I could literally make this video last forever. But I'm going to talk about a couple other places. Parks. I'm not going to mark these because they're pretty easy. They're pretty, viewable to the eye. Like I said, Costanera is a good place to just go for a walk and go for a run and be outside. New Wasu. This is going to be your main running park. This has these big long trails. I think it's 7K in total if you do this whole loop. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 9K, something like that, 9 kilometers. So it's nothing crazy, but if you're a runner, you're going to be at New Wasu a lot. There's a lot of running groups that meet frequently at New Wasu. So if you want to join a running group, it's a great way to meet friends. Here's a good way to do it. You can find them through WhatsApp groups and stuff, and you can just ask people, or you could literally just show up to New Wasu on an evening, at 6 p.m. There's gonna be a bunch of people there, and find a group of runners, and maybe try not to stop them if they're running at a good pace, but you'll see people there who are warming up and stuff, and be like, hey, are there any running groups? Are you a part of a running group? Can I join? Can I get your WhatsApp? Yeah, and then there's soccer fields here as well. I think there's volleyball courts here. So yeah, just good place to hang out and do outdoor stuff. And then Parque de la Salud is the other major park that you're going to be at. This one is all tree covered and it has this little running trail as well. Kind of a very hilly up and down running trail. But Parque de la Salud is very aesthetic. Can I go inside? Yeah, let's see. If you just want to go for a nice walk and get some fresh air, this is going to be your best place to do it. And it's a little bit closer, a little bit better located. I'll shout out the Asuncion Run Club. They meet at Parque de la Salud every Sunday at 10 a.m. So take that with you. You can meet right here every time. Reset to north. Right here at the main entrance, right here at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. And you'll see them there warming up and playing little games and stuff. Go there, hang out. Martin, tall European guy, he's really nice. And you can go run with them. So those are your parks. And that's, okay. Who knows when we'll end. This bridge. Talk about the development of Asuncion. Okay. Oh, here it's not even there. All right, what year are we in? 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022. Here, it's not even connected yet. 2023, not done. 2024 is when the bridge opened. This was huge news for Paraguay when they finished this bridge. Essentially, it took what used to be a super long commute over through this bridge and made it something very short and accessible to all of this land over here. Nueva Asuncion is this technically specifically. I'm just going to refer to all of this as Nueva Asuncion. Will either be an absolute gold mine for land, or it might be a bust if they never truly develop it. But a lot of people are purchasing land here at a pretty good rate to get in on what could be just an extension of the capital city in a place that hasn't even been developed yet. So it's very promising. What I recommend you come do here to check out, you cross the bridge, and then you're going to take a right here on this road, or I guess it would be this road, and then you go into here where this is Chaco E. Chaco E is a private development, which basically just like a nice, expensive neighborhood. They don't have that many houses built yet, but you'll see these. These are nice, very, very big mansions. I mean, yeah, these are like, I would assume that these are where the richest people in Asuncion are living right now or are moving to. Like if you wanted to buy the most, like if you want to build what would be the most valuable property in Asuncion, I think this might be where you do it. Now another thing, if we go back to 2022, right, damn near nothing. 2020, I mean, this is before the bridge was even done. Now they were speculating on the bridge for a long time, but people swore that no, there's no shot. Oh, it was just political cope. They're never gonna get it done. The politicians are just saying that to get elected, and it got delayed a bunch, but it did eventually get done. So we'll give them credit for that. But yeah, it's still very underdeveloped here. They have a golf course, and I don't know if anybody ever plays it. I've never seen anybody playing on it, but it's there, and I'm sure you can play it if you wanted to. And they have here, Laguna Grill and Café Martinez. So what you do is you come through here, and there's going to be a security guard who stops you on the way in. He says, "Where are you going?" And you say, "I'm going to Café Martinez," and that's what you should say, and then just go there. It's super nice. Yeah, it's just very aesthetic, right? You can go there, take some cool pictures. And you can go there and just get a feel for what is the land across the bridge. I don't recommend Ubering here. I recommend either renting a car or finding a friend who has a car and going with them. And bro, driving through this, bro, you swear you're in Florida. If you're familiar with like the nice retirement communities in Florida, feels exactly like that. One time, you'll see in one of my previous videos, I walked from here to here to record. And the security guard came and stopped me and said, "Hey, you don't live here?" "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, you're a visitor. You can only stay here. You can only be on this trail and at one of those two locations. Everything else is private and for the homeowners only," according to security guards, because they're really trying to protect it and protect the property values and the interests of the homeowners and stuff like that. So that's another place that you should check out. And this whole area is called Chaco E. I'm going to place a pin on it and attempt to spell it right. Chaco E. That may or may not be spelled right. I don't know. Done. Chaco E. So, aside from that, I'm going to explain some of the greater stuff now here. This is the main lake. This area, San Bernardino, right here, this is the party in the summer town. Starting from mid-December through mid-February, so December, January, February, when it's really hot, this is where people go to hang out and party. Now it's cooler. The further you go from the city, generally the cooler it is. Not exactly sure why. It might have to do with elevation or just the way the wind blows or the proximity to the lake. But it's cooler out here. And if you want to ball out in January, you rent an Airbnb for the month in Samber. Samber. Yeah, that's how people call it. San Bernardino. Samber. If you ever hear somebody say that, that's what it is. Rent an Airbnb in Samber, get some friends to go in on it with you, and there's some really cool parties. If a big celebrity or like DJ or artist ever comes to play or perform in Asuncion in January, odds are they're going to be in Samber at the amphitheater, which is located here. No. Where's the amphitheater? I can't find it. You'll hear about it. You'll know it, and if you go to Samber, you'll see it. But yeah, that's that. Arewa is another really cool place to see if you want to get out of the city a little bit without going too far. And then everything else starts to become greater Asuncion. Paraguari, I highly recommend you check out if you want to make a day trip. There's some really cool mountains here. They're not crazy tall, but you can hike them up and down in like 2 to 4 hours round trip. You can get some really cool views. It's just very campo, right? If you go back and you see some of my older videos, you saw me, I was driving from Paraguari, this nice place to get out of the city for a day trip. But yeah, out of the city, that's where you should start. Around the lake, Paraguari, and everything else is el interior, right? The rest of Paraguay. I'm not going to go into the rest of the map, right? Ciudad del Este, Encarnación, right? Encarnación. But that is pretty much it. I'm sure there's something else I'm missing here, something else I can be talking about. But to recap, here's your airport. Here's your gringo bubble. Shopping del Sol, Paseo La Galeria are going to be your most, business-centric areas and your most expensive. Shopping Mariscal, another good alternative. Distrito Perseverancia, check it out. Check it out. Another good alternative. Las Mercedes and Barrio Jara, another good neighborhoods that are a little bit more affordable and still very nice and very well located. Costanera de la Asuncion, good place to go and get some sunlight. And here's where you have all of like your government stuff and your museums and stuff. Calle Palma and Carmelitas for nightlife. And beware of these roads during the day. Crazy traffic on these roads on España Mariscal, but you're going to be using them a lot. And that's pretty much it. That's what you need to know to start. Again, it's like my brain is telling me, oh, but talk about this and talk about that. I could go forever. This video would never end. But that's it. I hope this was helpful. I know I was just kind of rambling. We're at about the 1 hour point for this video. I know I was just kind of rambling, but I really hope that this helped you. I think if you actually sit there and watch this video for the full hour, you're gonna feel way more prepared to navigate yourself in Asuncion and just have a better feel for what's going on. Let me know if there's anything else you think I missed. Let me know if there's any other specific parts of the city or things on the map that you think I should cover, or just any other video recommendations in general. I'm super open to any specific recommendations. Take this as an opportunity to ask someone who's very familiar with Paraguay specifically what you want to know, and I might make a video on it. Otherwise, I'll respond to your comment. Connect with me on Instagram at EstebanExpat, and that's it. Get to Paraguay, turn on your phone, open up Google Maps, and good luck. But after this video, you'll at least be a little bit more ready. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.